Have you ever heard the quote, students have to Maslow's before they can bloom? You ever thought what that means? Let's talk about it. If you're in education, I'm sure you've come across this quote at least sometime, right? Students have to Maslow's before they can bloom. So let's talk about Bloom's taxonomy. You know, if you're not familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, it's actually been rearranged over the last few years. But you know what has not changed for over 100 years? Maslow's. So let's break this down. When you look at the pyramid of Maslow's, let's start at the bottom, food, water, shelter. Then you move up to level 2 is safety. Then level 3 is belonging. That's very important in this video, but I want to move to the next 4th level, the self-esteem needs to achieve, master, recognize, and respect. See, it's very interesting that sometimes the way, and I'm very guilty of this, we've actually said out loud to students, get out of my classroom and I'll let you come back when you can act right. And it's interesting is the more I dive into this work, I start to understand that basically what we're doing is we've inverted Maslow's. We've said, wait, I'll let you feel like you belong here when you can act right. And what Maslow's has taught us, and we haven't rearranged it for over 100 years, is nope, not going to happen. In fact, when you look at that quote and you think about it, how are we going to feel like we belong if we don't act right? Well, what we've got to recognize is I'm never going to act right. I'm never going to achieve, master, recognize, or respect unless I feel like I belong. So, and just understand this, belonging is subjective. The hard part for us is not every student feels like they belong. And so my call to action and for your thought process is to ask questions like directly, asking a student, do you feel like you belong here? Because they're going to tell you, sometimes they're going to say no. They're going to say in certain classrooms, in her classroom, but not in his classroom or vice versa. And that's going to illustrate that you have a belonging problem. And not only that, I want you to think about it from teacher retention. Teachers, you're more likely to stay on a campus that you feel like you belong at, that you can actually be trusted to do their job, right? So we talk about students and teachers to stay in retention, teacher and student retention. How do we get them to stay on our campuses? Ultimately, we got to get them to feel like they belong. That means we have to come up with a belonging plan. That means we have to be intentional with our interactions to make sure that teachers feel like they belong when they come to your campus and students stay on your campus that feel like they belong. So our call to action is, it's how do you create a belonging plan? Well, guess what? That's one of the things we love to work with as school strategists to help you change those dynamics in your campus. If you're wanting to find out more about creating a belonging plan and helping your students to not just bloom in Bloom's taxonomy, but to actually feel like they belong, I'm going to ask you to reach out to us at our website at ddiscipline.com.